I want to start off by first saying many people today have the history wrong. Modern day thought is that if the giants of old, the giants that were gods to man, originated in eastern Turkey, we need to go back and look at Turkic history. Or was it ancient Sumer with their history of the Anunnaki? Well, both of these are wrong. Obviously, I'm discussing eastern Turkey because the Anatolia area occupation dates back to the Paleolithic period. Best example is Göbekli Tepe, dating back to approximately 12,000 years ago, at the close of the Paleolithic Ice Age. Then remember the Urfa Man statue from southeastern Turkey, Neolithic period around 11,000 years ago. So stories of gods of great stature creating man for physical service and walking among man, living on the highest peaks of well-known mountains, seems to originate from here in Sumer. Maybe it was here in Turkey at Adiyaman Mount Nemrut, with the gods sitting on their thrones atop the great mountain. So where then should the story begin? At least the distant historical parts we kind of sort of remember. The distant past lets us know that those ancient people of Sumer, supposedly from the earliest known civilizations located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, created the original written text, cuneiform text. But guess what? It was created approximately 5,400 years ago to trade with a culture that was north of what has come to be known as the cradle of civilization. The text was a way to control the logistics and trade with an even older people, one ruled by living gods of great stature, gods that were older than mankind, differed from Homo sapien, but now almost completely vanished and reduced in height and girth due to a reduction in their population and a need to sometimes mate with the daughters of man. These people, the ones that truly are the modern day origin, at least for the fifth world, after the fourth was destroyed by a great deluge and additional catastrophic events, precede the biblical Hittite Empire and the kingdom of Urartu. They are the most ancient Armenians, the ancient people of Anatolia. They are who I have labeled the Araratians. These are the ancient Caucasus peoples that were capable of surviving catastrophic events because of how they were geographically positioned at just under 17,000 feet in elevation. This may very well play into historical records such as the Bible that have Noah parking his ark somewhere in the same general vicinity, or whomever Noah really was as the story is told in even earlier cultures in their history, just using different names. Interestingly enough, Armenian mythology states that two giants, Hike and Bel, fought over the land and people. Hike shot a massive arrow that struck and killed Bel. Hike then went on to found the land that would eventually lead to modern-day Armenia. Before a catastrophic event, giants were everywhere. We then know that populations of both mankind and the giants shrunk. Small groups or pockets of both races survived whatever took place. It was just that humans recovered. The giants did not. They were reduced to a whisper of the truth, a minor remnant of the past. So some of these ancient beings of great stature obviously survived a cataclysmic event. Others like them survived around the world as well. So let's tour the world, seeking the giants, same as the Phoenicians did while they used the maps of their old gods, those of great stature, to find their way to the same prospects, mines, and mineral deposits that were used and mined even before those from the ancient Levant region groups learned how to circumnavigate the world, thousands of years before the history that we've been taught. One giant in particular named Og we need to discuss. So the Bible tells us important details about him and the giants of Canaan. First, Og slept on an iron bed that was 13 and a half feet tall and 6 feet wide. This is in Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 11. And remember, let's just think of the Bible as a history book at this point. Og was a man of great stature, even of more important interest. This size and height was not unusual. The Bible's promised land, full of giants. Now, when Israel sent their spies into Canaan, the spies came back and were freaked out, fearful because they witnessed 3 giants in Hebron, Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak. These giants terrified the spies. I want to point something out here. The Anunnaki were not giants, nothing to do with them. It was the Anak who were giants, completely different of those people that worshipped An and Anu, hence the Anunnaki. Nephilim, on the other hand, all those are giants, those of great stature. Now, the spies later report back to Moses. They state that the land through which we have gone to spy it out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all those we saw there are of great stature. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who come from the Nephilim, and we seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers, and that's what they thought too. We learn that these giants were generally called Rephaim. Og was also a descendant of Rapha, the sons of Anak, the Anakim, also Rephaim. And even more convoluted, the king Og that Moses and the Israelites ran into, he's not the giant of ancient times known as Og. That Og was one of the last of the ancients, the living deities of man that lived far longer than we do today, and that somehow survived a major catastrophic event taking place thousands of years ago in a lost, distant past. The name was probably handed down in a great privilege to be known as. That Og of ancient times went throughout the world and was worshipped as a god by many. He taught the cultures of the distant past about technology humans didn't have at the time, and is credited with quite possibly teaching mankind their spoken language after the Ice Age and entering into this fifth world. Most languages from around the world continue to have this spoken language embedded within. If we look carefully at the history and clues left behind, we can see that giants lived well before modern-day man. Something happened reducing their population and making those that survived gods to humans. As time passed, the great stature was lost, either bred out or gone extinct. So what else can we say? Well, we know that the giants traveled the world. They had better technology, harvested natural resources from everywhere. Ancient human cultures followed the same paths of these giants because they had their historical records. The giants were not yet a thing of just myth and legend. Around the world, they built the greatest structures that remain to this very day. Almost anything of value in the ancient Americas is said to have been created by another race, that race with technology far superior. Maybe that's why, as we moved closer to the modern era, technology at first seemed to take 2 steps back, and monumental building was crap compared to the most ancient of builds. I made this video as an introduction to the topic. Moving forward, I'm going to discuss one group of giants in their territory. Examples will be from ancient Britain, Colombia, Mesoamerica, and Malta. Thanks, and please subscribe to this channel if you've not already done so.